Yo, what up, Sheeples? This is Z.
Hello, sheepos! And this is 1000 - 7, like always. What's my name for this episode, Z?
Yeah,
Today?
you gotta have a name for this one. I mean, I think you should be something like we've already done bean water, right?
Yeah,
On
we've already
our,
done bean water.
I think. What about dark roast? Have we done dark roast?
Yeah, we
Oh
have
my
done
god!
dark roast.
I think you can just be Mr. Poopy Luwak today. Like,
Poopy
do you
Luwak.
remember that Sheeples from the second
Yeah.
episode? That was insane. That gave us a laugh.
Uh, but yeah, hey, welcome back, sheepos, to the final episode of the freaking year. That is
Damn, damn.
crazy.
This
Uh,
this year just sped by, yeah, in both the
yeah.
right way and the wrong way, and then
This year has been a mad one. Honestly, there's so much that's happened over the past year, and like you heard us in the previous episode, like we had a lot to say about like even us getting better and how this year also helped us get started to an extent.
hmm hmm
So there have been like this really happy moments. There have been some really downer moments, and I think that's just what this year has been like, and that's what we asked you sheepers about for Kaafi Vibes Part 3.
oh my god, how cool of a name is that? Coffee vibes. Like I'm just like imagining right now, fantasizing some managing director or some head of marketing is listening to this, and they're like, our coffee company should
We
collaborate
need
with the Sheeples.
to
Like Blue
we need to
Tokai,
trademark this name, dude. We
Sleepy
need to
Owl.
trademark this name.
अपन ने पहले बोल दिया, this is ours,
This is
like,
ours.
yeah, dibs for life.
Dips for life. But honestly, like this episode was all about just what do you think of 2020? Or do you have any questions at the end of 2020 for us? And this is the last Saturday of 2020, so the
Yeah.
last Sheeples Saturday.
Dude, it's
Though
like that time of the year when you can like freak people out. Like you meet them and they're like, "चल bro, देखो मैं next year मिलता हूँ." And they're like, "Oh what? किधर जा रहा है तू?" Like just give people tiny heart attacks and like, "अबे साले 31st is coming." So like, "Oh
I think,
wow,
bro, I think that joke has been so like overdone at this point that
dude."
people don't get scared anymore.
Yeah, don't get scared. It started from school. Like I remember the first time someone did it to me, and I was in sixth grade, and I'm like, "Dude, where are you going for an entire year? Why are you going to meet after 365 days?" He's like, "Idiot, school's gonna go for Christmas break and we'll come back." I'm like, "Oh, that way."
Yeah,
Yep, but it never gets old. Classic.
classics. Classics always remain classics for
It
sure.
is what it is, my friend.
It is what it is.
It's Mr. Puppy Lovak's favorite thing to say.
Poopy Luwak's favorite thing to say, our friend Varshini's favorite thing to say, and one of my friends, like from school,
Okay,
Prashant Patel, PP,
what a P
as we
boy,
call him, his
Mr.
favorite
P
thing
in
to
the
say.
house. We have another PP, right? Preet Parlecha. If he
Palrecha,
listens, I
yeah.
don't know if he listens to the pod, but yeah, Mr. PP, you should meet the other Mr. PP.
Definitely. We
You
should
guys
have
have
a
at
meeting of
least,
the PPs.
yep, you at least have one thing in common. See, the P raised
That
to 4
sounds
हो
so
जाएगा.
wrong. The meeting
अभी
of the
हाँ,
PPs sounds so
yep,
bad.
no, full criss cross scenes नहीं करने गए. So yeah,
Arey, no, unless you're into it, that's all good. Like we don't.
like peas in a pod, bro. Like peas in
The
a pod.
peas in a pod, yeah. We are so
Where the peas in
shit.
the pod? Oh, none of our names start with P though. Damn, that would have been such a cool podcast name. Two peas in a pod. Oh, bro, do you get it? Do you get
No,
it?
that's actually good. What the
Oh
fuck?
fuck! You just now
Whoever
time to
like
go back and shout at my mom. Like, why didn't you name the P? What's wrong with you? You're such a cool
oh
podcast.
my god, that's actually funny. I think we just gave an idea to the PPs of the world in general.
Yeah, so Preet Palrecha and Mr. What was the name of your friend?
Prashant Patel,
Mr.
Prashant
Prashant Patel.
Patel.
If the both of you all want to start a podcast, you can thank us later.
Two peas in a pod for sure. But
Okay, so
um
what's up with the Amma, bro? Where's
yeah.
the Appa to the Amma? What we
the
doing?
the Amma today, basically, like we were having a you guys ask questions or you sheepers ask questions. I've not done the guys thing in so long. I was so
Yeah.
good till now. You sheepers ask us questions, and
Yeah.
we got like a good few responses. We're really happy for you sheepers to actually be taking part and be interested in taking part, which is always like a big moment for us as well, because we it always like one some of us friends who listen to it like are actually interested in what we are saying, which is awesome. So
Yeah.
big shout out to Shreya, who's like been listening since the beginning. We love
What's
you.
up, Shrey Bear?
And even Sandy and like other friends like Bhargav
Uh,
and a few other people, like
Bhargavi.
they always
Bhargavi, have you been watching any cool horror lately? And Sandhya, your coffee's on the way. Just you know what I mean. Full inside
just it
joking.
just it's just one of those things that really makes us, warm in the heart. And then there are
Yeah.
new people we met through the Sheeples page, which has been really cool to, get to know you Sheeples and get to know like about what you guys do. Oh, well, yeah, in this case, those three are guys who usually talk to us, do and like what y'all work on, which is awesome. Always to get that response. So let's start with our first question, I guess.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
And I think this goes for everybody, whoever's listening into this episode as well. Shreya asks us, what are the three things you have learned from 2020? And again, this question goes out to all of you sheeple. So if you're interested in answering what are the three things you all learned from 2020, please do write in the comments. Please let
Yeah.
us know, because we would love to like hear from you sheeples about like what has been your experience that has been this hellhole of a 2020.
Damn this year.
Yeah. So
Yep.
yeah, Z, what are the three things you learned from
Wow.
2020?
Three things. Start I guess with number one, and I think one of them has is got to be that which I just learned like 5 minutes ago because of my friend Mr. Pupi Luwak, is that if 2020 has been the lowest point of your year, I think
Mhm.
the best way to look at it is that it can't go any lower, right? So like if like for me, I felt that this was breaking point. Like it got to a point where everything just felt like shit. अभी इससे बुरा कुछ हो नहीं सकता. But then he's like, dude, that the only thing that means is now the only way is up. I'm like, fuck, that makes so much sense. So I guess if any of you are struggling with hope, a change of perspective really helps. So yeah, if you feel that it's all over, then well, you got nothing more to lose, right? So in a way that's an advantage that you can use for yourself. That's number one for me. While I think of number two, Poopy, do you wanna tell us
That
your
was a good pun. That was a good pun on its own.
do you wanna tell us your number one thing that you learned this year?
Yeah, sure. So I think the number one thing I would say I learned this year is how important mental health and the conversation around mental health is. And we speak about this a lot already, but like it's just one of those things that really hit home this year because we've all been stuck here at home,
Yeah,
and not been able to do a lot. We've been isolated at times. We've felt that there have been moments that you know we feel like we can't reach out at times, and it's been a difficult time. And the best part of it all is like people started looking at their mental health more. People started talking about it more. The conversation at least started to an extent, which was great. And I learned a lot about myself as well because at the beginning of the year, Z and I both were at that point of we don't know what it is, we don't know what we should do and what we are doing at the moment, and kind of just learning that about ourselves and kind of just understanding where we want to go and what we want to improve upon and how we are going to like work on ourselves has been amazing as a journey.
yeah,
And I think the best part of it all was starting Sheeple. So that one thing about learning about mental health actually led us to this path, which is actually really cool. So I think yeah, that's the number one thing for me, that we started this journey because of something that people should really look into more. And
yeah, man, and
yeah,
you're bang on. Like when you say that, like I guess, and at some point it might feel that shit. Why is everyone talking about mental health? And it just might feel like someone's trend jacking or clickbaiting. But you know what? Even if it's any of those things, I guess what's important is that the conversation around it has finally started. And then I guess no matter what it takes, it shouldn't stop. So if
yeah,
if if anybody feels that they're being forced into this conversation, you don't have to listen. That's completely fine. I mean, there are a bunch of people right now talking about mental health, and we're one of them. And we really hope that everyone has the courage to sort of seek themselves, because
yeah,
the one thing that while we were we locked, while we were in the lockdown and we were distancing from everybody else, we were, that's the opportunity most of us got to be the closest we've been with our own selves. And
Very true.
that makes us meet monsters and makes us meet unexpected people. And that's just inside of you, right? And for a lot of people, that realization is scary. And it's something that is very intimidating. So most people avoid that for all of their lives. I know a lot of people who've never had that introspecting conversation, and I'm one of those. Like, I'm struggling too, but then it's crumbling times like these that give you no other option, because if you're stuck at home with yourself, like we have so many friends that started listening to us, that were stuck in different cities away from family, and it was one of the reasons we started Sheeples, right? So that you could have a
Right.
virtual safe space, and for them this conversation has been inevitable. So I guess that's awesome. I think that's, damn, I'm proud of us. It's like good
No,
stuff.
but this is the only thing I will like in this episode at least mention about mental health because that was just a point that I wanted to say. But yeah, let's. I guess point number two. What is it for you, Z?
I think the other thing that I learned is that how important it is to know how to cook food.
Oh
And
shit! Yeah,
and like food had been like a very functional thing that you just need to get by in the years before this. And
yeah,
for the most part, I had a magical creature called mom making food for me, so I didn't even know have to bother with the process of how it's made. But yeah, I realized in these past few months that when you have limited groceries at home, you really
yeah.
start being inventive, and how you can jazz up regular old food. Uh,
Yep,
Also,
yep,
a
yep.
crazy hack is if you're eating dal chawal, just switch on MasterChef on YouTube, and it doesn't taste like dal chawal. I promise you that. I've had a whole lot of lazy afternoons just binge watching MasterChef while eating khichdi. And I'm like, हाँ मैं खिचड़ी नहीं, just I have to manifest what I am seeing.
Like
Uh,
honestly, it's just food channels on YouTube, man. Oh
yeah,
my god, they're so good.
in
They're so
in
good.
incredible, man. Like for most of
Yeah.
the week, I find myself just seeing travel and food shows on YouTube. And damn, consumption of YouTube has gone up so much. Like I don't
Oh
think I
yeah.
watch as much Netflix and other OTT as I do YouTube.
Same, same, same. I think YouTube is the
Something
most
about like
consumed
the
like
short
video
format,
platform for me.
and you don't have to commit to a channel is weirdly comforting, because like on Netflix you start a series and then you have to wait for the new
Maybe that
season.
just says
And
something about us. We have
yeah,
commitment issues.
commitment issues. We have issues.
Kenneth
Shout out to my boy
Sebastian.
Kenneth Sebastian.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
what's
love.
what's what's number two for you, man?
So I think number two will be my friends are amazing.
Hey, are we gonna
Honestly,
giggle that you said number two? Like, are we gonna be childish? Like, hey, you said number two. Wait, I said number
yeah,
two too.
no, but
Damn.
honestly, like over the past year, I've seen so many people start up so many things of their own,
Yeah.
and it is so cool to see them grow and make like how many of these people were so talented and we did not know about all these talents. Like what the hell, man? Like one of my friends, Ankit Shetty, he raps so well. We knew he used to rap well, but like he actually made two songs and released them.
Proud of you,
So
Ankit.
which is freaking amazing. We had people like Srishti Bose who does amazing artwork who I never knew about like in college because even in 2 years we never knew she was this creative. Crazy.
Damn,
Um,
Srishti,
we've
you hide yourself well.
we've seen Teja Shri do so well with her dancing. Though she started earlier before the lockdown, like it's just been so cool to see how
But she
she's
is insanely
used it.
talented, and then she's inspiring so many people to like take it up, and that's so
Dude,
cool.
100%.
Like
Arpita,
coming from the two of us that like think
yeah.
we don't dance at all, shouldn't dance for the welfare of the world.
100%. Arpita, like she's always been killing it before as well, but like
What's
just
up,
moving
Arpu?
platforms, coming to Instagram, and like just her content is so so nice to watch, and like it's always so fun, and like it's kind of that like just a happy positive vibe in that, and it's always fun to watch that, which is so cool. And like Little Lost, Drazy, Drashti. the
What?
one like who took this like year by storm in a way,
Yeah,
because
she grew and
her
how, bro?
content, yeah, holy shit, dude. And like the whole like page and blogging is so good, because honestly, even her reels and everything that she's done over on her page have been so amazing, and such cool stuff to see. And if, like there are so many more like food lovers. There's Preet, who does again food blogging. There's so many people that we can name, and I'm sorry if you're forgetting some people right now, because if I had to, I can list like everybody. I would say each and every one of y'all are amazing and doing some crazy good work. And it's just so like brings me happiness to see, like, there's so much talent in these people.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish we could see this during our time in college, but
Yeah,
I
but
guess it took
I'm glad we
the
did. I'm glad we saw it. Better
oh,
late than never.
fuck, I forgot about two people. I'm so sorry, who've also, like, you've heard on this podcast, or rather three people.
What's up,
Hormus,
Varshini and Hormus?
Varshini, Hormus, and Abhishek. Like, they've been on this podcast, and how can I not like mention you three?
Yeah,
Who've like
Hormus's page
honestly,
is just gonna make you go like, "Oh my god!" All that's missing is a little bit of Sancha posts in Hormus's page. I mean, Varshini, everyone knows how.
honestly, Varshini has some amazing content on her page. Abhishek, as you know, is an amazing artist and has a podcast of his own. So always like check every one of these people out. Like, they are so good, so good, and
On the
it really makes me proud.
Yeah,
It really makes me proud that I we know these people. So hey, that's freaking amazing. Then I guess, yeah, that's my point too. Like, and all of my friends, this goes to each and every one of you. All the love, and y'all are all like super talented.
go for it.
This
You're
might sound cheap,
infinite.
but hey,
Hey,
it
no,
is.
I mean we love doing that, right? Like we have
Yeah,
this entire thing called Friends of Sheeples, where we
yeah,
like constantly keep shouting them out because I think an important part of life is to keep hyping up everyone around you because you never know who might need it. And of course,
yeah,
a lot of them are talented for sure. Everyone is talented
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, for
But
sure.
then hyping them up is always is a good feeling.
Yeah. So, what's your number three, Z? Or yeah, number three this time.
Yeah, number three is okay. So I guess the third thing that I learned in wait, what was the question again? Three things you learned in the lockdown or
In
2020?
2020, as a
Oh,
whole.
I guess the third thing that I learned is don't do an MBA, guys. Like, like guys and girls and sheeples. Yeah, it's. I mean, I think that's for the most of us, it's the pinnacle of education, but for the most part, it's the pinnacle of fraud. And yeah,
I mean,
just don't. Just
yeah,
don't. Like, I'm not going to say no strings attached. I'm just going to put out a blanket statement out there. Don't, because okay, fuck the money. The money you'll make back. Okay, and there's no doubt you'll meet some amazing people. But the point is,
yeah,
you're gonna spend 2 years of your life, and that is a lot of time because there are easier ways to meet people and
yeah,
sort of learn knowledge, right? Knowledge can always be learned if you do internships, and people you can always meet if you go out at the right events or at the right shows or
yeah,
if you are on social media. But okay, maybe I'll just put a small little disclaimer: is that really overthink your decision of going to business school, because unless you're getting into like a top 5ish or a top 10ish institute, yeah, the rest don't really match up. So
yeah.
yeah, don't do an
I
MBA.
Okay. I would say there's a bit of a difference between uh, Z and my experience in that sense of MBA,
Yeah.
because I feel like I don't particularly hate the fact that I did an MBA, because it really did put perspective into my whole like life in general, because I've learned a lot over the past 2 years. It might
Mm-hmm.
not have been the school or college or business school like teaching me that. It's
Yeah.
more so, and this I'll say the only reason I loved doing this MBA was because I got to meet people over there who were from so many different walks of life, and I got to learn a lot from them. So I
Mm-hmm.
improved as a person and as like who I am and understanding myself and becoming like more of a I guess not particularly an extrovert. I will call myself an ambivert because I can be in between those two things.
Ambi Valley
But
who?
like but and I think Z can attest to this. I have been like around and I've tried my best to talk to each and every person in college, and it's been a lot of fun getting to know these people. And I honestly can say with 100% like trust that every one of these individuals is hardworking, amazing, and I've gotten so much to learn from them because the way they
Yeah.
think differs so much from the way I might think. And just to get to know different perspectives and learning about like whether it be just giving presentations in front of them, keeping their attention on something, or
Mm-hmm.
just like learning a few small tidbits about like people or how people work. It's been quite a good I guess experience for me. So that's why I wouldn't particularly put MBA as a bad thing. I would say like the people make the MBA more than what you study there because
Mm-hmm.
it's what you garner from those experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what I think I got out of it. But then again, like if you're looking for specifically like jobs and not really looking for that people part of it, but rather like you're looking to get into a really big job, big packages and all those kind of things, yeah, I would still agree with Z on the fact that like the top five matter more than like maybe the other different business schools that come under it, because those top five are the ones getting those packages. But that I don't think that should be the goal in the beginning.
Yep.
Like
I mean, really
I would
rethink your reason of going to business school. Like, just,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, like, if you think that you're stuck in a dead end job and your MBA is gonna suddenly help you go from executive to vice president, yeah, not happening. If you
Yeah,
think that you're
that's
earning,
not
yeah,
B
if you
school.
think you're earning 30K a month and you can easily go to 5 lakh rupee a month, that's not happening. So, the all I'm trying to
Yeah,
say
yeah,
is for the most of us, when you look at the different kind of advertising that we're subjected to when we think of
yeah,
doing an MBA, you should really take them with a grain of salt because advertising usually
yeah,
always speaks of the best case scenario. And to be very honest, the best case scenario only happens to one, two, or three people in a class
yeah,
full of
yeah.
50.
True.
So,
I think that's the thing, right? People get into an MBA for that specific reason, and I think that's what Z you also got into an MBA for, right?
yep,
If I'm
yep,
not
yeah, I was stuck at
wrong.
a job where I felt I was
Yeah,
crashing and I
I
needed.
I was I was more so like getting into an MBA to just get like shit over with kind of thing. Like I just wanted to get the MBA done in between because I was very lost in what I really wanted to do, and I was like maybe maybe a job will help. What I don't know what to do. What should I do? Like especially, and this comes because after losing my dad, I was a bit not understanding of what I should particularly do and how can I help my mom and all those kind of things. So maybe our perspectives in that way differ, and that's why I think our MBA experiences per se differ in
Yeah,
that case.
yeah, fair.
But yeah, oh yeah, I forgot like my number three thing, right? For the year.
Mm-hmm,
Um, if I had to say something, I guess I could say learning to multitask to that extent, maybe.
mm-hmm,
I don't know. I guess just that learning that I had some kind of artwork that I could put out and some creativity that I can put into every day and just like maybe and the whole thing is like marketing and everything. Like I really like the creative aspects of it, and Sheeples allows me to do that. Is kind of the one thing that I learned like is that I can like when letting free executing and the creation aspect and the execution aspect are like I had never had the practical experience for it, and maybe this works against the MBA part of it. Everything like you
mm-hmm,
should technically like the practical experience is so much better. And when you are actually responsible for something and just learning to actually stick to that schedule and stick to what you've kept for yourself for months and months and months,
mm-hmm,
um, just I think that teaches you a lot, like about your own discipline, about your own scheduling, about your own creativity, your work, whatever it is, right? So practical experience is amazing. So yeah, being being able to learn like my own like how to make artwork and how to do all those things and be able to stick to the schedule is one of the bigger things I'll say I learned in 2020.
Hmm. Yeah, dude, that's on point, man. I guess multitasking is really the boon and the bane of
Yeah,
humanity, right? Like it
yeah,
works completely against the sanctity of mental health, but at the
yeah.
same time, it's associated with productivity. So I guess like how to multitask is also like a skill they should teach you right from the beginning. How to not.
I'm not amazing at it. I will give you that. It's not like I don't have moments of like I wish I can procrastinate.
Yeah.
No, but it's still like I think as you said, it does work against mental health, but like learning to do it to an extent also is a good like
Hmm.
part of your life maybe, because then you maybe learn. I think the next thing I want to learn is to actually be able to um divide my time into the different things I want to do in
Hmm.
general. So like just give an allotted time to something. I feel so old. I sound so old. What the fuck is wrong with me?
Oh, quickly, uncle.
Dude,
Just
just give me
feeling
booze,
like,
man. Give me booze. I want to get drunk. Fuck everything.
whoa, the year's
Fuck everything.
ending. Go get
I am
wasted.
getting drunk. Fuck New Year's.
Get
Ah.
wasted. What plans, man? Are you gonna be like? Are you gonna chill this 31st or what's happening?
So there's a curfew in Mumbai, so you can't really party. You can't really do anything. And
Boo,
plus, COVID, you shouldn't party. Just
boo.
saying.
No wait, no wait, no boo
No,
to
no,
that.
no, no, no. But what I am doing is meeting like these four other friends who we all have been tested. We are negative. We know that we don't have, and we don't get out really.
Okay,
So it's just like school friends. Five of us are just gonna sit around a table, drink, talk, maybe play a few games, and that's about it. That's the night for New Year's for me.
nice.
I mean, honestly, I think that sounds a lot of fun after like just partying it up over the past 4 5 years, whatever it
Uh
has
huh.
been, and vomiting every time, every night
Damn, dude. Like
of
you've
that
got a
New Year.
weird pani puri drinks, man. You've already had your
Oh, dude,
warning.
no, 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 no. Like this is just boozing it up. So I want to fucking shout at PP for this. Prashant, that guy. I had in one of our parties. Okay, he made a weird ass concoction. I don't know what the hell that was. It was a concoction of God knows what all booze. It was a hellhole of a concoction, and after he made me drink that, I did not know what happened. I did not come to my senses until I puked. And I once I puked, I
Damn.
was completely fine. And I remember the next half of the night, but that middle part of the
Hmm.
night, because of that boy giving me that drink, I
That's
don't
just
know.
that's just wicked. That's just very considerate and wicked at the same time. Like, oh, मेरे दोस्त को दारू
Dude,
पीना है. Let me make him puke.
that night was a lot of fun and also a lot of pain. And so
Damn. It's just
so that
weird. Like some hangovers go on for like an entire week, and that's when you know that
dude,
oh, too old for this
it was a
stuff.
good night though. I'll say this. It was a good night. But yeah, Z, what's your plan for 31st?
Oh, dude, I'm gonna mostly be like chilling with the family. It's gonna be home, just the
That's
three of
nice.
us. Gonna cook
Yeah.
something nice. We got like a bunch of we're trying to like cheat eating outside. Like instead of like ordering in, we're trying to find like frozen foods that we can sort of like cook at home and so it feels like we ordered from the outside from a restaurant, but we're really doing it at home. So like just some nice
Yeah.
cheese pineapple cubes and some Baileys
Yeah.
on ice and some nice Ricky Martin playing on YouTube. Just
That sounds good. That sounds good. That
so
sounds like a
yeah,
good
just
day.
chilling, man. I'm gonna like sneak in like all the cats in my building. So it's gonna be a very furry New Year.
Oh, oh, that sounds nice. That sounds
Yeah,
cool.
it's gonna be a ball, man.
But yeah, so I think New Year plans. But what are your New Year plans, Sheeples? Like, what are you
Yeah,
all planning to do
is
this
like, do you all have the courage to go out
like
and party,
31st?
or are
I
you gonna
see
be
it can't
sitting at
happen.
home and doing it virtually? Dude,
It,
I'm pretty sure that
party
there are
can't
people.
happen.
ब्रो मैं बोल रहा हूँ तेरे को ऐसा कोई ना कोई तो होने ही वाला है येड़ा जो बोलेगा वाटा कोविड को अपन करेंगे पार्टी पूरे
Bro,
साल नहीं
that's
किया.
irresponsible. Don't do that, Sheeples.
Yeah,
Please just
I
don't
mean like if you're
don't
like
party.
please reconsider
Yeah.
because even if somebody tricks you into saying don't worry we'll have our masks on milte to hai,
That
you're gonna get
ऐसा नहीं
drunk.
होता.
the
Yeah.
masks are gonna come off, right? it's
Yeah.
it's don't just don't just be smart, sit at home,
Yeah.
rewatch Friends or The Office or How I Met Your Mother if you want to. Get
Yeah.
drunk by yourself, but मत जाओ यार, मतलब ऐसा, like just imagine you, for the most of us, we made it the entire year without getting affected by a virus that's literally affecting everybody. So
Yeah.
like that's an achievement. You don't want to mess with that, do you? Like the vaccine's here. Like imagine how stupid you'd feel if you got COVID and the vaccine you could have taken like was just a week away. Like, so I wish that doesn't happen to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just be a
Honestly.
little smart. You've been smart
Yep.
the entire year anyways, right?
Yep. So I think, yeah, let's move on to the next question.
Sure.
I guess. Okay, so this one comes from Mindfully Awkward. Hi again.
What
Hope you're
up?
doing
We
well,
really don't
dude.
know who you are, but we really like you. And he's got that like
You're always
space
like
helmet,
supportive.
got like that space helmet thing also going on. So even like the
Yeah.
virtual photo is shrouded. I think you had that kind of photo as your phone's wallpaper, right? For a long time, like an
I had a
astronaut with a
similar photo, right, right.
similar
Like
photo, right? Yeah.
I like astronaut stuff in general, so
Hmm.
like I feel like that's always cool to see. And this fellow sheeple really seems to like space, I guess. So
Yeah.
I know where you're coming from, man. Like I really like that whole aspect of
Right.
that.
What does mindfully code ask us?
So mindfully awkward has asked us a little more of a tame question, and this one comes like with what has been your favorite band that you've heard this year? So
Oh,
just like specifically this year, I'm not talking about like overall this year, which
okay,
is that one band, and you can maybe name like three, four, whatever you want to talk about, but like that
okay.
one band that you really like that you've heard this year.
Well, so okay, so I don't know if if it technically falls under the band or anything, but so this was suggested to me by Narendra Nars from Mars. Go for it. You've got an insane taste in
Yeah,
atmospheric, chill kind of music.
yeah.
And this, I don't know if it's a duo or if it's just one person. It's called Aphex Twin, and they
Oh,
have
okay. This is the first time I'm hearing about them.
yeah,
So,
they've got this track called In Focus, Stone in Focus,
oh, okay.
and the best
Yeah.
part is it's like a very zen kind of track. Okay, not a lot of elements going on.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I just did a quick search, and he's a British musician, and he works
Ooh, okay.
basically in electronic and ambient music. Okay, the name is Richard David James, and
Oh, okay. Okay.
so
Okay.
Stone in Focus is this. Okay, I can't even describe the music, but I'm gonna give you an idea of the music by the
Yeah, you
video.
can't play it like
No,
honestly there's
no,
a lot
not
of copyright problems, man, with that.
no, not playing it. I'm saying I'm just gonna describe the music by the video that he's used in it, and that's
All
gonna
right.
like
All
give
right.
you an idea of the vibe, right? The
Right.
entire video is like a 5 second clip just looped over 3 minutes, and you know what the clip is? The clip is of a really furry winter kind of monkey ape that's
Uh-huh.
in a cold country and has sat in a hot spring, and the kind of
Ooh.
expression on his face, just eyes go like they shut and then they open again,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the kind
yeah.
of relaxation that you would feel if you
That's nice.
enter like a hot water spring in a winter country. And
Nice, nice,
yes,
nice.
that's been for me. What about you?
Um, okay, so for me, I would say so there are a few bands that I've been hearing over the years, but I think the most like one band that I heard the most this year has to be Bring Me the Horizon. I've spoken about them a lot in between, like on our stories as well. But BMTH or Bring Me the Horizon has really like been such an experience to hear over the
Mm-hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
Their newest album, or rather EP, they call it, because this EP is a part of like a four-part project that will become a whole one full album. But
Uh-huh.
this EP itself had like nine or so songs, which is crazy as it is. And like I really loved how they've incorporated the elements from all their previous four albums. Like, well, they have six albums, but they've changed a lot of genres over the
Okay.
years, and
So is
just
this a kind of
incorporating all
fusion
those
thing
elements.
going on, or do they have like a genre they stick to?
So they are a very rock based band. They do
Okay.
have like a very rock specific sound, but they also have a sound that is kind of like Linkin Park, where they incorporate like electronic uh,
Dude, you had
elements
me
to
at
it.
Linkin Park.
They incorporate electronic elements to it. They incorporate like a good few poppy sometimes elements, a good few, but it is rock. I will say it is rock. Originally, so when they started out really, really early on, that was like 2004 or something.
Mm-hmm.
They were very specifically deathcore, which is very heavy, very, very heavy metal sound. Like deathcore is like screaming to the max. Like it's a
Okay.
very, very specific type of sound.
Okay.
That was the original sound, which was the first and second album. But the third album completely changed everything. Like they calmed down from that a little bit, and they came into a little more like rock specific sound where it is metal,
Mm-hmm.
but it is really grand, and it involves strings, and it involves a lot of like different kinds of elements, and they've grown over the years. They've made an album that was very specifically electronic, with a little bit of poppy stuff. They've made albums that was a mix of electronic and rock. They've made albums that was very specifically like an EP that was just like atmospheric. So they have a very big plethora of songs and albums that really, really work well. And just the fact that they incorporated every sound that they've done over the years into this one EP
Uh-huh.
sounded amazing. But that's me personally who really loves it. It's not
Okay.
everybody's favorite. I can say that because
BMTH. Nice.
BMTH.
We
Yeah,
also had made
BMTH. You might.
atmospheric. That is damn cool. I'd like to hear that side of
Dude, oh
their.
yeah, I'll get you to hear.
I'd love to hear that, man.
Think they are one. Then recently, I've been listening to a little bit of Deftones. I've heard the Strokes. The Strokes were like their album, The New Abnormal, is so good. I have heard a recently. I heard a band called All the Saints. That's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
There's this other artist called Ren who has a very good voice. He had some really, really good tracks. So there have been a good few artists that I've tried listening to this year, and I hope to listen to more. Oh yeah, as always, as we keep searching easy wanderings,
Uh,
the Indian bands that are
Ox.
F16s. There's like so many good artists out there. So I would say there's so much to hear out there. But if I had to choose one favorite band for this year, it
Bring
has
me
to
the
be Bring Me the
horizon.
Horizon.
Nice.
So yeah,
Damn cool,
that's my
man.
answer.
Thanks for that question, mindfully Ock. That's music is always a great
Yeah,
question to
it's
ask.
always fun to talk about. So thanks. Yeah. Um, then the next question comes from Prithvi. You remember, so aesthetically yours,
Yeah, what's up,
the
Mr.
guy.
Prithvi?
So
Another P.
he's a fellow
Like a.
artist
Uh
who's
huh.
really young and is amazing. We always say this. He's so good.
Yeah.
And it's always nice. But he did send us a doozy of a question, which I was like, bro, I can't answer this.
Whoa. Okay.
It's like,
Pulling out the big guns.
what are your thoughts about the political situation of our country? I was like, bhai kyun maar raha hai? Why are you
अरे
killing us?
ऐसा Prithvi wants this podcast to shut down, huh? Like this is like we could have found a nicer way to say stop making content, guys. I
Yeah.
don't like y'all. ऐसा trap है हाँ ये full. I'm like blinking right
Bro,
now at this dude through the like
I
मत answer.
I replied to him, bro, like, dude, you should answer. Like, why have you done this? He sent us a laughing emoji, and I'm like, bro, you're evil.
Yeah. So like, okay. So I mean, while I don't want to answer that question directly, because to be very honest, I don't follow the news as much as I used to at one point. But I also want to give the reason why. And I think there was a point in my life where being politically inclined was very important. I had my sides. I knew every bit of current affairs that was going on right from the
Yeah,
first line. And these were the pre-MBA
yeah,
days, right? Because like that's what they tell you when you want to get into business school is that you have to read all the newspapers, you have to have an
yeah,
opinion, you need to be aware,
yeah,
and all of that made me really bitter. I'm just gonna say it out upfront. Like it made me very jaded, made me very skeptical, made me very condescending as a person. It made me think of the world as a zero sum game where I thought the side that I was following was the only right side to follow, the only correct side to follow, and
yeah.
everything else was a sham. Um, and in retrospect, when I look back at the person I was, if I would have met him, I wouldn't have spoken to him. You know, it's
Hmm.
like that kind of person that you meet at a party and they're just so how do I put this bluntly? They're just so self-absorbed and confident that they know everything, and anybody else's opinion is just a joke. You know, you've met people like those, right? That make you feel like pretty small about yourself, and usually people move away from people like those. So I guess like a bunch of months ago, I maybe, and also this sort of began with COVID. When COVID began, I just started distancing myself from the news very consciously, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I did that because it's allowed me time to focus on other things. I don't want to say more important things because
Right.
then I'd be implying something is less important. But it just allowed me to focus on things that matter more to me. And yeah, I guess that's what I want to say about that question. What about you?
Fair. Okay, so if I had to, so I will say a little bit about it.
Go for it.
The only reason I will do this is because it's important to speak up to that extent. Is that either way, I think the political system in most countries, and our country right now especially, is needs a lot of work. Like as a democratic country, we really need to make changes. But the only problem right now, I feel, is like there's no one party that's perfect to actually run it. Maybe the system needs to change to an extent, like especially in the sense of like how much why is it always like right leaning, left leaning? Why is it always like only this thought process is right or this thought process? Like there has to be a middle ground to an extent. And why is it always a fight between political parties where it's all everything becomes about power and political power and all those kind of things? The one thing that this country really needs is progression. Like is a leader who can take things into his hands or her hands, their hands, and just genuinely take be able to take this country forward to that extent. Even though, and I don't know how that can happen. Honestly, I don't have any answers because I'm as confused as the rest of the country to how to improve it. How do we
Mm-hmm.
move forward? How do we get better? But at the moment, like as much as there are things that are done well, there's also the fact that side that always is that these people are not being heard. There's like whether it be the farmer protests, whether it be the whole northeastern part of things, whether it be Kashmir, whether it be whatever. It's there's so much that still needs addressing, and we are a very very large nation in the sense of people itself. While the land might not be as large as like some other places, it's still the number of people that need to be governed is crazy huge. And of course there's always going to be differing opinions. Of course there's always going to be parts that are not always heard, but there needs to be some answer to this, right? Whether it be in the form of states having a little more control than they do, because they need to govern their own number of people first, because 1.3 billion is crazy for one party to properly govern
Yep.
in that sense. So I don't know what the actual answer to this is, but the political situation, if I had to speak about it, is that the system itself requires a lot of work. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's the only way I can really answer it. I'm not going to say I'm right leaning, left leaning, because there's again, I feel like each part needs work. That's
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Okay.
So
Fair.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to offend anybody in that sense, but like political stuff is always like a very
डायलॉग देख
sensitive
लो, हाँ?
topic.
फटके
For
मारने तो इसको मारना,
हाँ,
मैंने तो
अरे
कुछ
अरे
नहीं बोला है।
अरे अरे.
मैं तो चुपचाप बैठा था। मैं तो बोला नहीं बोलते,
No,
ये
but
बोल रहा है।
I'm quite sure you agree with me in this.
Yeah,
Like,
no, no. I mean, like, jokes aside, the country needs a lot of work, and I guess everyone's
yeah,
accountable. Is I think the best way to put it. Everybody is like, not just
yeah.
political
And
parties, but
the
then
thing is,
people like,
we need to be more accountable ourselves
yeah,
in that sense.
true. मतलब एक
So
वो attitude है ना कि I
yeah,
have put in an elected representative and they're going to do all the work. That there's something wrong with that process. You know, it's like I'm going to draw a parallel which might seem a little childish, but it's like appointing a house help at your house and expecting that the house will be clean
yeah,
just because you appointed the house help. Now,
yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
if he or she gets to know that you don't care to supervise, they're going to slack off. And
yeah,
so the point is, even if you have a representative in place, you need to be personally accountable to have the sort of checks and balances to make sure that they're doing their job, which
yeah.
again makes you question the need of a representative. But that's a whole different podcast.
Yeah,
Hmm.
fair. But yeah, thank you, Prithvi, for giving this question because I think it does require light
Yeah.
to that extent.
Keeping it
And
real, Prithvi. Appreciate it. And we'd love to know
yeah,
what your take on it is. If you
yeah.
just
Honestly,
DM
like, what do
us.
you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah,
important to like know where you're coming from
yeah.
as well. Because that's when we'll
Because
understand.
y'all are the generation that's next, right? Even though we are kind of in that similar spot,
सीधा
like
अपने को बूढ़ा ही
you're
बना दिया
younger.
ब्रो ऐसा हम लोग तो
हम तो है ही ना.
we are moving
But he
into a
see it.
old
We
age home
already
now.
have to take things in our hands, anyways. I'm
Yeah.
saying like y'all are still younger, so what are y'all planning to do?
Yeah.
Um, that aside, even for the favorite artists of the year, right? Who is your favorite artist of the year, Sheepers? Like, I forgot to ask this before. But mindfully awkward, like he asked us, we put this question forward to you. Who has been your favorite artist of the year? And finally, this is the last question for us that we got in our AMAs. Thank
Hmm.
you again. Even if it's like one person, we'll always be happy to have this coffee vibes session because we can just chatter for no reason anyways. So it's always
Hmm.
fun. And this is someone who, to preface beforehand, they have they were the one they were one of the people who suggested their friend to actually apply to us for internships, which was really really cool to see.
Ooh.
So remember we got like a message
Yeah.
from
Yeah. Yeah.
one
Yeah.
like a person a while back,
Yeah.
and I hope like we didn't disappoint you. We're really sorry.
Yeah.
um we once we become a little better, we'll come to you, honestly, like if you're still interested at that point. But hey, thank you for even applying. um so this person, their name is Shasam. Shasam is well, I mean, of course, it's not their real name, but yeah. So they were talking, and this is something I think Z you can talk about a lot more. I had a full conversation with them in our
Mm-hmm.
DMs
Mm-hmm.
about this, and they ask, this year might have marked the maximum number of breakups, but
Mm-hmm.
what do you think, like why are people like this? Why do breakups even take place? Or what, like his whole thing is like, why are breakups so bitter and bittersweet,
Ah.
bitter, bad? Like, it's a very muddy space, right? At the end of the day,
Hmm.
and he says that this year, he says that this year has marked the most, like, largest number of breakups, most probably.
Fair.
Which I feel like could be the case because this year has been shitty in many different ways. So,
That's a
um,
doozy of a question, and to be
yeah.
very honest, it's very unfair to call that one question. I think it's like a bunch of questions doled into one, and I'm gonna try my level
His
best
thing
to.
is his was a statement. I'm interpreting that question from it,
Acha,
and I
acha.
had this whole conversation with him,
So basically, the
and
question is like, why do people break up, and why have there been so many breakups this year? Is that like
yeah,
sort of the
like
gist of it?
I think so. The other part is the conversation that I had with him, right? And he said, because he kind of spoke about his own experience. He told me like, I would love to hear your thoughts on the podcast about this.
Hmm.
Is and I don't want to give away too much because again, private conversations.
Yeah,
I respect your privacy. Thank you for reaching out, and I'm hoping we can help in any way if we
we
can.
respect your privacy more than
Um,
Instagram and Facebook does. So yeah.
so he was basically talking about like how he's gone through a breakup as well this year, and
Fair.
how it has affected him as well to that
Yeah,
extent.
yeah.
He's had a tough time dealing with it, and he was talking about like, sometimes like you don't know what to do, like is it the end, like what can I do ahead, what's the why was this a problem, like he was friends with this person, and then they went out and it just didn't work out, and what like he it's just, I guess, one of those things that breakups are never easy, right? And that's what I
Yeah,
kind of
I
spoke
mean,
to him
and
about, like it's
to be very
yeah.
honest, I think this is, and I'm gonna sort of be very objective here because I've had a
Yeah.
bunch of breakups, and I don't want to like imply that there is a specific reason for why people. Okay, so first of all, I guess the word, I mean, at least to me, the word breakup means very, it's very cruel,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason why I say that is, I mean, I prefer using the word moving away or went apart, but I can understand why breakups is an easier word to use. And I'll tell you my
Yeah.
problem with the way we view breakups is that there's like an entire context of a bunch of months, years, emotions, and like a lot of stuff that goes into a relationship. Okay, I am not going to pretend to understand and explain why people come together, and neither am I going to pretend to understand why people move away. All I can
Mhm.
say that is there's a bunch of unlearning that we have to do. Um,
Yeah.
Primarily, the first question we really need to ask ourselves is, why is there a need to be with somebody? Again,
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer that because everyone has a very subjective take on it. But once we have that question in mind, we've like, and this is something that I have been really struggling with recently, is
Hmm.
just the entire concept of monogamy, and the idea of a soulmate, and the idea of one person to lie down next to in your grave. You know, the kind of
Right.
concepts that pop culture sells us. You know, stuff like
Right.
soulmates and stuff like one true love. And to be
Right.
very honest, I've had a bunch of one true loves at this point, so that really defeats the whole concept of soulmate, because you expect when you're 13, 14, 12, 11 that there's going to be one
Right.
person. I mean, that was my idea, my naive sixth grader idea, that I would find one girl, I would love her for the rest of my life, and then we would die old. Um,
Right.
Now, the problem is, even if you find somebody with the exact same thoughts, um,
Hmm.
both of y'all are continuously changing every second that goes by. And
Hmm.
it's not just changing, it's morphing, because changing is still predictable. Morphing is random. And each person, as time goes by, is randomly morphing into a newer person.
Hmm.
And that's the scary part, and that's also a good part. Good part because change brings good things, blah blah blah. But the scary part
Hmm.
is that within 6 months of dating somebody, you could wake up in bed next to someone you don't know at all. And I think that's one of the reasons, according to me, why relationships don't work, is because both people in the relationship change at different paces, yet at scary paces. Like, it's weird. And that's happened with me personally. Um, and I guess that's one of the reasons that people move away, is because after a bunch of months, they don't find that person familiar. And the
Hmm.
other ugly truth, and then the reason why I call it ugly, is that most people don't want to accept it. And I am one of
Right.
those most people. Is that in this insanely connected virtual world, where applications like Tinder and Bumble and Hinge are literally free to use,
Hmm. Hmm.
no matter how good you are, okay, no matter how good of a musician you are, no matter how good of a looker you are, no matter how good of a talker you are, or no matter how much money you have, no matter any of those things, because of these apps, there is literally somebody slightly better, mediocrely better, and much better than you available just a swipe away, no matter how
So
good you are.
sad about this.
No matter how good you are. Okay, so that's like
Oh
a
God.
ugly truth. That's like a huge reality, and this was highlighted to me by our friend Nars from Mars, who has some insane insights, and that sort of should put things into perspective for you, that in life, if you had something better available, there is only so much time till which you can control yourself and not go behind it. Once you
So
once Yeah.
kind of kind of disagree in this matter to that
Yeah,
extent
fair.
because
Like I said, extremely subjective.
yeah, and this is what I told him as well. And I guess I'm not. Maybe I don't want to be with the glum outlook, but you are
Fair.
as a person are you. Like there's
Yeah.
no better you.
Yeah.
I will give. I will always say that because
I'm
you
not
as a
I'm I'm not
person.
I'm not saying that this is what
No, so
people do. I'm just putting it out there that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah. People
this is
people
the
can
reality.
be.
We're
Yeah,
living in a
it might
world
be.
where, and
It
it's
might
it's
be that
very.
way, but there are good examples of people as well, dude. Like I think there are good relationships out there, even though people change and people do change. But like, and as much as I don't think the whole soulmate idea might be a thing, whoever that
Mhm.
soulmate is, or like, there's always the case of like there is an attachment. If friendships can last all your life, and in that sense, I think there are relationships that last that long. And I think one of those examples comes in the form of my like mom,
Mhm.
and how much she had, like the attachment she and my dad had. And I think that's something that brings me back to the whole idea of, yes, there's the best you, there's always going to be someone who will, but it doesn't have to be, it's never easy, because there's still going to be problems there. It's not that
Mm-hmm.
easy to just, oh, I like them, so everything's okay. No, relationships take work. They take
Mm-hmm.
a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
They require a lot of work from both sides and equal work. It's whoever that, like, whether you're with a boyfriend
Mm-hmm.
or a girlfriend or whoever that person is, right? Like, um who your preference is, and who like, takes a lot of work from both sides, and a relationship at the end of the day doesn't define who you are as a person. So
Mm-hmm.
breakups, yes, they are very difficult, but that doesn't change who you are. It was a part of your life, it was a big
Mm-hmm.
part of your life, it was what made you like tick for that time, but it doesn't make you tick as a whole. And that's one thing. Like, yes, relationships are very bittersweet. Relationships can be the best thing in the world, they can be the worst thing sometimes. And yes, there might be someone better than you in that aspect, sure, but doesn't change the fact that you as a person are you. uh, that, like, that's about it. Like, nobody else is Ayushman Jain. I am Ayushman Jain. Listen to my name. And I'm saying this properly because, like, you already know my name, so it doesn't matter. Nobody changes the fact that Z is Z. He'll be the best Z that he is
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day. So that, I think that's my perspective. And breakups, yes, this year must have marked a lot of them. But that, like, maybe that's because they people wanted different things, and like Z said, people change, and that's a part of life as well. That still does, that you're gonna change. You're gonna find some other relationships. You're gonna find other people, and one day maybe you'll find someone you might want to stick to for a longer time. Doesn't always have to be the end all be all. That's the other part of it. It doesn't have to be like that person is the end all be all. Yes, you're gonna be attached, and hopefully you all both can work it out for a very, 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 very long time, whatever that might be. Um, but yeah, like, the idea is that breakups maybe help you find yourself a little more. They help you understand yourself a little more. And, like, I've said this to Z as well, there's always something else out there. There's opportunity is always knocking. If you're not willing to look at it, like, you're not going to find it. If you're willing to find it, you will. So that's just be willing. That's about it from my side in this
Mm-hmm.
matter. But yeah, a little glub for the ending.
Yeah.
But do
No,
you want
that's
to end it
fine,
on
man.
a
Like,
bit of a positive note?
yeah, I guess the positive note is that coffee exists in the world. And you have microwaves and you can just make a coffee in a minute. And I guess knowing that uh, that's a possibility gives me so much hope in these winters. And I guess it's these, I guess happiness doesn't come in the form of big news most of the times.
Yeah,
It's very, very small micro joys that you need to find. And if it's something as simple as the fourth cup of coffee at 3 p.m. On a winter
yeah, yeah,
afternoon, you don't
yeah.
need anything else. That's about it. Micro joys are the joys you've always been looking for.
No, I agree. Yeah, coffee is the best. Definitely. And no shade to tea drinkers.
Yeah, well, you do both.
um,
Do both. You don't have to commit to
do
one.
both.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? You can be
you can
polyamorous
be
and then
fine. Yeah,
have
you can be
chai and coffee
polyamorous in your
both
drink.
as the love of your life. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. Mix it up
Sure,
with some
sure.
green tea too, if you're
I'm quite
looking
sure
to.
Deepak will agree. Like, his tea love is strong. He loves to tea a lot.
Dude, Deepak is so tall I can see him from here, and I stay
Dude,
far
he's an
away.
amazing guy as
He's an amazing guy
well.
with I think the tallest guy you'll ever meet, and like a golden heart, and an
Yeah,
amazing chai person. What up,
for sure.
Deepak?
For, yeah, what up, Deepak?
Yeah, I was like, शीपल और दीपक को कंबाइन करके दीपल कर दिया. I'm like, whoa, Deepal's people. Like,
Deepak. That's funny.
that's
But
insane,
yeah,
man. But I guess that was an awesome end of the year
yeah.
episode. Last Saturday of the year, and
Thank you for sticking with us for
yep.
like this moment, this time, because I think we wouldn't have even come here if you sheeples did not exist. So just for listening in. And even if it's like 5 minutes of this episode, like even if you're listening to 5 minutes, just know, even if you don't hear this part, we will still say it, is the fact
We
that
will
like
still say it. Whoa,
we really
that's deep.
appreciate we really appreciate you being here, and you taking your time to actually like take that time out of the day to listen to two dumbasses talk about dumbass shit all the time. um and make
That's it.
stupid jokes and make mistakes and watch us make mistakes and teach us different things. So hey, thank you for being there on our journey. And the next year is gonna be crazier. I can assure you. um
Yep,
i I
you're
think,
gonna be seeing a whole more of
yeah,
Sheeples.
you're gonna be seeing a whole lot more of Z. So
Homogeneity. Yeah, I think that's more relevant here.
so be prepared for that. He needs to be prepared for that. Let it be.
Yeah, it is what it is, my friend.
Yeah.